How many guys are making 10 plus mil a year? Why does it seem so few are making way too much? How is the league going to tackle this? I don't know. What do you think, VJ? Sorry, that's my wife. That's my wife. That's my mom-in-law. Vish, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I think requires a lot more thinking than just an off-the-cuff answer, because this is actually a really interesting question and topic. Yeah, it's definitely something to think about. I think that the one thing with the league is that I think this COVID-19 period is going to start to reset, because we're going to see a lot of large quarterback contracts get moved off. And I think the other thing we're going to start seeing is teams be a little more careful on who they give that large quarterback contract to. And the domino I'm waiting to fall is to see how the Cleveland Browns handle Baker Mayfield, because I think that's going to set the tone to what kind of contracts are given out.
Patrick Mahomes,
right. Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, we figured $40 million, everybody would have done it. No brainer, except maybe Grant. Everybody would have given those two $40 million. But I think Baker
Mayfield, I can see the argument for him. I mean, if he's a future Hall of Fame player, then okay, fair enough.
Got to keep him in the organization, the marketability, all those details. But Baker Mayfield is a quarterback that can be replaced by a younger quarterback, even though he's pretty good. And so that's where I'm going to be interested, because if the Browns hand Baker Mayfield $40 million, then we're in the exact same situation that we're in. But if he gets a $25 million contract, then there's some evolution. And if they just let him walk because they can't agree on a contract and draft a guy, then the whole landscape of the league has changed.
I feel like it's a copycat league. And for, I don't know, since basically free agency started in the mid-90s, everyone's attitude is you got to have the quarterback. You got to have the quarterback. So, the quarterback is the most important position. So I'm going to spend 14% of my cap on this guy. I got to get him. I'm going to spend 16% of my cap on this guy because he's Aaron Rodgers and you got to have him or whatever. And I think as time has gone by and we've now have 25 years of evidence with free agency, teams see, there really is an upper limit to what you should be spending on particular important positions where there's, I don't know what the terms would be, where there's like a negative return. We're like, yeah, you need pass rushers. But if I spend $25 million a year on this edge rusher guy, it's not helping me. And I think you finally figure out what the upper limit is with these.
The thought process has changed because more people are realizing when I pay Jared Goff $32 million, it cripples my organization. So people are realizing, well, yeah, I can pay Patrick Mahomes that much money. I can pay Deshaun Watson that much money. I can pay Aaron Rodgers that much money. But I could find a guy with the guys that are coming out, as long as I back myself and trust myself to draft and develop a guy in my system. I could find a guy for $15-20 million cheaper who can approximate at the very least Jared Goff's production. So I think we're gonna start to see the market get saturated. We're either gonna see the top dog guys get paid, and I think the mid-tier guys, those are the guys that we're gonna really wonder, well, how much do you actually pay him? And I think Jimmy Garoppolo is another guy. If he doesn't get traded, and let's say the Niners move off of him and he gets cut, I'm super interested to see what he would get in the open market, because he's kind of in that weird area where he is a starter, but he's 30 years old. He's not really a long-term future type player because he's 30 years old, but he is a good start, like solid starting quarterback. So I'm interested to see what the market would pay him and how teams would approach that, because if he gets offered $15 million, then we've reached a kind of homeostasis with how quarterbacks are being valued. But then if somebody tosses him $22 million or $25 million in the open market, we're still continuing in the same trend of paying average quarterbacks way too much money because of this myth that we need this quarterback, which the premise is so noble, right? Everybody does need their quarterback, but you need the right quarterback. It can't just be, I paid Jared Goff $30 million.
If you remember, the reason they instituted the rookie wage scale is because people are so gaga on quarterbacks. Every year, the quarterback who was picked first would be the highest paid player in the league.
You remember Sam Bradford's contract, the last big one?
Yes, and that's ridiculous. So they instituted the rookie wage scale, and now we're 10 years into that, 11, and I think people are seeing, oh, this is something you have to take advantage of. This is a whole different class of player. If you get a guy who's playing like a veteran on a rookie scale, it makes your entire team, especially if it's a quarterback or a pass rusher like Nick Bosa. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. And then you make the adjustment, right? Well, how do we get him playing like that on his rookie scale? Well, let's not try to throw him into what we do on offense. Let's take what he's done for the last 10 years of playing quarterback. He's gotten reps since he was 8 years old playing Midwest Boom and 7-on-7 and all those kinds of things. And now we can take those like 4 or 5 concepts that he's extremely comfortable with, implement them into our offense, do a couple of tricks for him, and bang. If he's
and
that
then develop him
talented,
slowly
he
while he's playing, and he succeeds because you put this baller team around him because he's not making any money. It really works, and you've seen team after team pull it off. The real trick is when one of these teams convinces their ownership to let the quarterback go. Be like, you know what? We can replace him. We can replace him. I don't know. Maybe the Niners have been trying to convince Jed of that with Jimmy. I don't think these owners want to let a marketable, good quarterback go because if you don't have that guy, you're in Siberia.
Because we're talking about the examples that work. Right. We're talking about Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson.
Kaiser didn't work.
Right. We're also talking about like four of the biggest physical freaks we've ever seen play quarterback, from the angles they can throw from, how athletic they are, their quickness, their movement. Everything is so special, right? It's off the charts. It's when you draft Daniel Jones, who I think is pretty good. He reminds me of Kirk Cousins. Is he worth that upper echelon money? I don't think so. He needs time to develop, and he's not physically that gifted, right?
So what you do is you draft the next guy 4 years later and say, you know what? I got 4 years of a pretty good quarterback play on a rookie deal. I didn't give him a second contract. It's okay. Move on.
That's what you get him for $15 million, $20 million.
Fair. Yeah. Either way.